Morning, everyone. Our nation's immigration system is broken, and I think we need to work together to fix it. But fixing it starts with a commitment to working through the democratic process and enforcing the laws that the President is sworn faithfully to execute. All year long, I've warned the President that by taking unilateral action on matters such as his health care law, or by threatening action repeatedly on immigration, he was making it impossible to build the trust necessary to work together. As I warned the President, you can't ask the elected representatives of the people to trust you to enforce the law if you're constantly demonstrating that you can't be trusted to enforce the law. The President never listened, and with this action, he's refused to listen to the American people. The President has taken actions that he himself has said are those of a king or an emperor, not an American president. And he's doing this at a time when Americans want nothing more than both parties to focus on solving the biggest problems in our country, starting with our still struggling economy. And the action by the President yesterday will only encourage more people to come here illegally and putting their lives at risk. We saw the humanitarian crisis at our border last summer, how horrific it was. Well, next summer, it could be worse. And this action also punishes those who've obeyed the law and avoided their turn. With this action, the President has chosen to deliberately sabotage any chance of enacting bipartisan reforms that he claims to seek. And as I told the President yesterday, he's damaging the presidency itself. President Obama has turned a deaf ear to the people that he was elected and we were elected to serve. But we will not do that. In the days ahead, the People's House will rise to this challenge. We will not stand idle as the President undermines the rule of law in our country and places lives at risk. We'll listen to the American people, we'll work with our members, and we will work to protect the Constitution of the United States.
The President says...
You all know what the rules are.
Mr. Speaker, the President says you could have prevented this, Mr. Speaker, by showing that the House was going to take action on comprehensive immigration reform. Did you miss the boat?
The President made 38 unilateral changes to the Affordable Care Act. The President repeatedly suggested that he was going to unilaterally change immigration law. And he created an environment where the members would not trust him. And trying to find a way to work together was virtually impossible. And I warned the President over and over that his actions were making it impossible for me to do what he wanted me to do.
Mr. Speaker, can you tell us how you plan to respond, how the House plans to respond, when the House will respond, and whether or not you agree with Chairman Rogers that given how these things are funded, the power of the purse through appropriations is not a constitutional avenue to fight this?
We're working with our members and looking at the options that are available to us, but I will say to you, the House will in fact act.
You started a piecemeal process last year or earlier in this year. Can you renovate that? Can you reinvigorate it and move that forward, or are you going to start from scratch?
As I said at the beginning of my remarks, we have a broken immigration system, and the American people expect us to work together to fix it. And we ought to do it in the democratic process, moving bills through the People's House, through the Senate, and to the President's desk. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.